Hey, welcome back to the Watch Me Wholesale show. This is another episode, and here's how it works. We're gonna randomly choose a market, we're gonna find a distressed property, we're gonna analyze it and run the numbers, and then we're gonna pick up the phone and call and make an offer, all coming up.
This video is brought to you by Fast Track, a partner program where Jerry Norton will fund your deals and mentor you. Learn more at fasttrackwithjerry.com.
If you're new here, I'm Jerry Norton. I went from dead broke to millionaire, and after flipping 1,000 houses, I started this channel to help you learn how to master the art of wholesaling and flipping so you can live your dream life. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified when new videos are released. Okay, if you're ready, we are gonna start. I'm gonna click the picker wheel here, and we are gonna choose our market. And the winner is Portland, Oregon. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on Zillow and I'm gonna type in Portland. And what Zillow's gonna do is it's gonna pull up a map of the entire Portland market. On the left is the map, on the right it shows me homes. Up here at the top it has a list of, filters that we can use. So what we're gonna do is I reset the filters so it's showing me now all of the actives. So these red homes are actives, that's how Zillow does it. Here's a list of them, and there are no filters in here. And remember, our goal now is to find a distressed property. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go over here to home type. I'm gonna uncheck everything except houses. And then I'm gonna go over here to the more button. And under more, I'm gonna go down to the very bottom where it says keywords. Now, here under keywords, I'm gonna put a keyword that's gonna hopefully find us a distressed property. Things like fixer, TLC, those are ones I really like. I'm gonna try right now as is. That's another one that I really like. So what it's gonna do now, if I put as is as a keyword, is it's gonna search the entire market and it's gonna give me just homes for sale, current homes for sale, that have in the description the word as is. Now I'm hoping that that indicates it's a distressed property. So I'm gonna put as is, click done. By the way, I've got an entire list of keywords, of the best keywords to find distressed properties. If you'd like a copy of that list of keywords, I'll put a link in the description below so that you can get that list for free. Okay, so here we go. As is gave me a pretty big list. So here's our list of as is, and what I want to do here is find a property to look up. Since I've got a list here, it says 75 results. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna click under price, I'm gonna click newest. And the reason why is I wanna find the most recent homes. That way when I call on one, it's a new listing. I really don't wanna call on one right now that's been on the market for 300 days, right? It's probably not going anywhere, way overpriced. So here we've got a list of homes. You can see these look obviously distressed from the outside. This one's grabbing my attention. It's screaming at me, Jerry, pick me, pick me. It's boarded up. So let's go ahead and take a look at this property. And here we go. I mean, clearly this is a distressed property. And you can see here, it's got the garage door boarded up, the window boarded up. It's got, look at the roof. The roof is shot, grass growing out of the gutters, no driveway. And you go inside and it's clearly been neglected. Now this is without a doubt a complete rehab. You cannot do a carpet paint on this. There's no way around it. You gotta do roof, you gotta do siding, you gotta do windows, and if you're doing all of that, you gotta go inside. All this wood paneling's gotta go, new kitchen, probably new, all the bathroom, paint and carpet, everything's gotta go. I'm gonna assume, I mean, that looks pretty good, the furnace and water heater. Those could be updated. But to do a house like this, that's 1,400 square feet, I'm gonna go with a $45,000 rehab budget. Now, where am I getting that? Just from experience, looking at a lot of houses. I try to do things based on light, which is carpet paint, average, which is carpet paint, kitchen, bath, and heavy, which is carpet paint, kitchen, bath, and everything else, roof, window, siding, so on. And so this falls into that, heavy type of rehab. But because it's only $1,447, then that's about a $45,000 budget. And the comments here say, ready for updates, turn this home into your show place, lots of hardwood. This home is being sold as is, there's our keyword, cash or rehab offers only. Rehab offers meaning hard money offers. So they're looking for an investor. This is clearly not going to pass any type of mortgage inspection for a retail buyer. Now, I love that on one regard because we're not competing with homeowners, only other investors. Okay, so that's a good thing because it's going to lower our competition. Right here is what I'm looking for. This is the listing agent. His name's Steve Gray. In a minute, we're gonna call on this property, but we've got to call the listing agent. They're the one representing the seller. They have this listing. We're gonna follow my double dip technique where we go directly to the listing agent and see if we can work with them, offer them a commission to represent us as the buyer's agent. So we'll get to that in a minute, but first, let's comp this property. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and save this. So I'm gonna heart it right here, and then I'm gonna duplicate my tab. So I've got one to reference here, and on this one, I'm gonna go ahead and X out of the comp itself, and whoops, it's gonna show me where we're at on the map. So right here is my hearted property. So if you look at this little neighborhood, we're in this area. This is a little bit spread out. This is not a super, tight neighborhood. These streets are kind of, a little bit, I wouldn't say rural, but not really city type of neighborhood. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and redo a new boundary. I don't wanna look at all of Portland, I wanna look at just my neighborhood. So I'm gonna click right here, remove boundary, then draw. And since we're down in this little pocket here, I am gonna cross this road here just because we're right on the edge of it. But I'm gonna go ahead and draw over to this road down here to Southeast Foster. We're gonna cut right through this little park right here and do something like that. Okay, so still a pretty condensed area. I'm gonna click apply. And right now it's only showing our property because of the filter we have. So watch what happens. I'm just gonna click down here where it says reset all filters. Click done, and that's gonna show me right now, these are all of the actives. Now look at this cluster right here, right in our neighborhood. So that's kind of a lot of actives going on. I'm interested to see what's going on. But let's go ahead and click sold, because really what I wanna look at is the solds. Now, wow, there's a gazillion solds. So let's put some filters in. Let's get down more similar to our property. And Zillow doesn't give us a ton of filters, but it does give us enough to look at more accurate data. So going back to our property, we're a 4-bedroom, 1-bath, 1447, and we've got a garage. So I'm gonna go back over here. I'm gonna click more right here. Wait a minute, before I go there, for bedrooms, I'm gonna put minimum 3. We're a 4, but I don't wanna discount 3s because there's probably some similar homes, but I don't want to look at 2s. So I get rid of all the 2s by clicking on 3+. And then for home type, we've already got, let's go ahead and put back to just homes. So that gets rid of some properties. I'm going to go to more now. And this is really important here. I'm going to click sold in the last 12 months. That should get rid of a bunch of comps. We're down to 137, so we've whittled it down. Now my square footage, because we're 1,450 feet, let's try 1,750 as a max and maybe 1,000 as a minimum. Now that still might be too many. Yeah, that gets us to 88. So look, we still got a lot of comps, so we need some more filters. We could go to 1,250. That's gonna get us down to 60. Although let me just keep it at 1,000 for a minute here. And then the other thing I'm curious about, because I'm just looking at some of these homes over here, like this one right here, these look newer. And if you notice here, guys, our house is built, I thought I saw it, where was it? 1960. 1960. Now, this is a big deal, so I don't want to look at homes that are too new, they just won't compare. So under year built, I'm gonna try, a max of 180. And see what that does, 1980, okay. So if I put, don't show me homes that are newer or built after 1980, that condensed our comps down quite a bit more to 32. And we're 1960, so I'm okay to go past 1960, but I wanna be looking at kind of that era, right? 1960, 70, 80s, so that I'm kind of looking at similar type of homes. Now, hopefully we find some rehabs, but I can't be looking at homes built in 2010 and use those as comps. So year built is a big filter depending on your market. So I'm gonna use that one. I'm also gonna click here, must have a garage, and see what that does. It doesn't look like that did too much. And that gets us down here quite a bit. But look at this, we're seeing a lot of consistent numbers in the 300s. This house right here is right by our property. It's a little smaller, but to look at this one. What I'm gonna do here though first, guys, is I'm gonna go back over here to homes, and I'm gonna go high to low, because what I'm doing now is I'm gonna try to determine the value, but not any value, not as is value, but after repair value, ARV. Because I have to do a full rehab, I need to know what will this house sell for on the open market if I redo everything, new roof, new windows, new siding, new kitchen, new bath, new flooring, everything new. So I need homes that match that type of home. I like new renovated home. So I'm very interested right now, not in clean but dated. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in fully rehabbed. So for example, this home here that's a little bigger, 1680, if I click on this, the first thing I want to know is this a rehab? And it's not. Look at red carpet. You know, it's clean, but look at, this is old. This is original kitchen. Now it's sold for really well, which is great, but I want to find comps that are relevant to ARV, after repair value. And so, you know, I just start clicking on these highest sold homes, no pictures on this one. And I want to try to find like this one, bingo. So look at this house, little 1-car garage, just like us, ranch, just like us. But this thing is fully renovated, brand new kitchen, new appliances, granite countertops, floorings all new, paint staged. This thing was done right, all the way done. Look how nice and new this is. So I want to grab this. I don't even need to keep looking at pictures. I mean, we can for fun, but you can see here that this is really well done. New roof, new siding, new door. Somebody put some serious money into this property. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab this address, Long Street, and I'm going to put this in a note. But what I really want to know right now is, what did this property sell for per foot? So if I take my calculator, 388,000 divided by the square footage of 1350, this home sold for $287 a foot. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in my notes right now. I've got the address here, Long Street. This sold for $287 a foot. Now let's see if we can find a few more like this. So guys, see what I'm doing? I'm just starting at the top with the highest sold homes. The highest sold homes should be after repair value homes, because they should be like new, because they're fully renovated. So that was a great one we looked at there. This one here, not quite. I mean, it's okay, but it doesn't look like a full rehab. And I just want to kind of go down through some of these until I find enough. Okay, so if you look at this one here, this one is clean, but it's not newly renovated. These cherry oak cabinets are from 2005, but it's clean, it's just not newly renovated. So I don't want to use that as a comp. So we've got this one here on Mall Street, and I like this one. You can see here that this is a rehab as well. It's and they staged it, new kitchen, new flooring, new everything. And this is a great comp because it's fully renovated, so this is ARV. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and grab this address, and we're gonna figure out what our price per square foot is. So we're gonna take our calculator, we're gonna take, it sold for $374,500 and divide that by the square footage of 1604 to get $233 a foot. And let's put that in at 233. So we got two now good rehab comps. Let's see if we can find maybe one more for this exercise. If I've got time though, and I really want to go through this and get really good, I'll keep going until I get, 4 or 5, maybe 6 of them to really get good data. The more data you get, the more accurate your comps are, right? So let's try this one. I like this one because here's why I want to look at this one. It's right here, and it's literally like our house is like a block away. So let's look at this one here. It is smaller, it's only 1,000 feet, but this is a nice one. It's got a little 1-car garage, just like ours. And look at it, nice rehab on this. New kitchen, new floors. So this one, they did pretty good on the rehab. All right, so let's go ahead and use this one as a comp as well. So this is Mitchell, and if we run our numbers, we're gonna take 326, that's what it sold for, divide that by 1,092 to get $298 0.5. So we'll go ahead and put this one in as well. So if I take these three comps right here and I add them up and then divide by 3 to get an average, we have $273 a foot. So those three comps averaged out to $273 a foot. And if I take $273 a foot and I multiply that by our square footage of our property, which is 1447, so that times 1447, that's going to give us our ARV. So let's grab the calculator and do it. 273 times 1447 gives us the 395,000. So ARV, assuming we fix it up nice like those comps, we'll get 395 for our house. And remember, we had a $45,000 budget. So if I take 395,000 and I multiply it by 75%, why 75%? This is the flipper formula for most markets. I know in Portland that's probably pretty accurate. And then, so I'm going to take 395 times 75% minus our rehab of 45,000 minus, let's say we want to make $15,000 wholesaling this deal, is going to get us to our buy price. So let's run that number real quick. So I'm going to take 395 times 75%, 0.75, minus 45, that's the rehab number, minus 15 is going to get us to 236. What does that mean? That means our wholesale number is 236. If we buy this for 236, we can wholesale it for 15 grand, for 250, 251 to a flipper who's going to spend 45,000 and then sell it for 395,000 and hopefully make a few bucks. So there's our number. We just got to our number. Next step is to call and make the offer. So if I go back to our property, here's our property. Remember I pointed out that agent, where is it right here? Steve Gray. So we're going to go ahead and it doesn't list his phone number right here. So I'm just going to grab his name and his brokerage. I'm going to Google this guy and see what comes up. And here's his website. So I've got a number right here. Let's pick up the phone and call this guy. Hi, Steve.
Hi.
Hi. So I was calling you about your listing. Looks like a brand new listing.
Yes, it is.
Gotcha. And looking for, says as is, cash rehab offers only.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, the history on this is there was a lady who lived in there who had a life estate granted to her by a relative. I'm not exactly sure the exact relationship. And so she passed away close to 7 years ago.
Wow.
And so that obviously dissolved the life estate and it went back to the grantor. And the grantor just did absolutely nothing with it at all. And I don't know whether or not anybody had moved in there and was squatting or not, but whoever it was who lived there, maybe it was her last, they just basically boarded up the house, which was great.
Yeah.
They covered it all up with plywood, and I don't know that anybody got in there. So I got the referral on this listing from my junk hauler, who was in there to clean it up and everything. So he's cleaned it up. It's got some really nice hardwood floors, and but the utilities aren't on. They need to be on, obviously for it to ever sell, of course. Kitchen, it basically needs a new kitchen, but it's probably a new bathroom, and it is the rest of it's the cosmetics. Now he looked it over, my junk hauler, and this guy's not just a junk hauler, he's also a general contractor. And he went and looked up in the attic and said, you know what, the roof didn't leak. And he said, may need a new roof, but the roof didn't leak, which, of course, is always what we see almost all the time. And this is an unusual one where it didn't leak, and the windows didn't leak because they were covered up with plywood. So to a large degree, the house was saved as a result of that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that minimized some of the repairs anyway.
So then what this lady who owned the house, who was the grantor of that life estate, of course, it reverts back to her. And I spent about 8 weeks working on getting her off the title and her 3 sons on the title. Because she wanted nothing to do with the house. She's going a little bit nuts in the head. And so she just said, no, I just want to give it to you boys. So now these 3 sons own the house.
And there's no debt on it? There's no mortgage on it?
No debt whatsoever. No encumbrances, except for they're 3 years behind in taxes, and that's just because the kids paid the taxes until such time as 3 years ago, and when they were hoping to be able to sell it, and then lots of life got in the way.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, okay, it's time to sell it. And I said, well, you're 3 years behind, and I said, I'll call the county and tell them not to start the foreclosure process. And those things get paid at closing. So that's the only encumbrance that I am aware of on the house at all.
Gotcha, which would come out of proceeds anyway. So
It does, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, as long as you get it done before they do foreclosure, which sounds like you've got time. So that's good.
And when you're on the market, Multnomah County does, they foreclose as a consequence of collecting taxes. That's not their main job. They like doing that. And they don't get paid anything extra.
Right. So if they know a sale's coming, they'll wait. Yeah.
They do. They do all the time.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It sounds like you've worked really hard to get this listing.
Well, I do that. I work a lot with estates trusts, things like that. But fortunately, I have an escrow officer who's an absolute bird dog, and she basically had 3 of her title lawyers working on this, and she basically just said, "Okay, you guys go in a room and come out with a solution." Because I don't want multiple opinions to come up with one solution, to which they did. Have the old lady give a bargain and sale deed to the kids, and we're good to go. And we needed a little backup documentation and who signs what and everything, and we're okay.
Yeah.
So, I did work hard, but if you're really doing things for your clients, you are working hard.
Yeah.
It should be.
Well, let me ask you, Steve, do you work with any investors?
I do from time to time. That's not my primary emphasis.
Okay.
And mostly because it hasn't been my primary emphasis.
Yeah.
And most of the time when I'm working with an investor, it's only, as far as helping perfect the sale and making sure that things go through and there's good information. And it's usually kind of like this, where somebody's got a cash offer, they come in, sometimes they have a realtor, sometimes they don't. And
so reason why I'm asking, Steve, is so I really like to work directly with agents on properties like this. So I don't come represented. I would prefer to not be represented. That way, on your listings, if you can get a pocket listing or you go active with it, I would let you write the offer for me and represent me on the buyer side. That way you're getting both sides of the commission. Are you able to do that?
Well, actually, I don't. I don't do that because I don't represent both buyer and seller ever.
Can you though?
I've done that before. I don't like it, but simpler is you get 2.5% savings. You might as well. I don't care about that 2.5%, and I just only represent whoever it is who's my initial client, which in this case is the seller. I get paid the amount of commission that's my share, and then you guys can either fight over that 2.5%, or usually the buyer gets it.
Yeah.
And then what I do is I write up the sales agreements if the buyer's okay with that, and I just put in there that that the buyer's non-represented. So, and while I'm quote unquote not representing you, of course I'll answer questions and
help facilitate the sale. But why? But I guess why not? Why not do a dual agency and get the 2.5% from the buyer side?
Because I tell my clients I don't do that.
Okay, so you take the stance of I don't want to create a conflict of interest. I don't do that. Even if the seller doesn't care, as long as they get an offer that they're happy with, because most of the time sellers don't care. They plan on paying 5%, 6%. However it splits out, they just want a good offer.
Right.
I mean, and I'm sure you see where I'm coming from. I strategically do that so that you feel compelled to want to work with me, call me with like, in the ideal situation, you call me before you list this and you say, Jerry, I got a good one, let's take a look at this thing, and we don't even go on market. Mm-hmm. If I'm buying and I'm all cash and kind of my formula and what I like, then that would be the perfect situation. knowing that you're getting compensated by it from the seller who's planning on paying 5% anyway.
Sure. Well, and that's exactly the reason why I don't represent both buyers and sellers. When I'm representing a seller, I say, look, we're going to the open market. I'm not going to privately place this one. And the reason for that is, and that's in a market like now.
Yeah, no inventory.
Because I'm out there with hardly any inventory. I said, I want the market to dictate the price.
Yeah, fight over your property.
And that way I'm clearly only representing you. And I'm not reaching out to somebody else and doing it before it comes on the market. So,
well, if you ever don't take that position and you tell a seller, hey, let me get you a buyer, I know a guy. You know, would you be open to me representing a buyer as well? And if they're like, yeah, we don't care, we just want it sold. I mean, just know that you can take that position and you can call me and I'll be glad to let you represent me as a buyer's agent and get that commission.
Sure. Yep.
And that'd be fantastic. What I would love to do is create an ongoing relationship with you so that we do deals for years to come. And like you just mentioned, you've got an escrow guy that bird dogs for you. I would look at you as the same way. When you run into distressed stuff, you got a cash buyer you can call, and we can do deals all the time, every year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yep.
So
let's swing over to Ellis now.
Okay, so going back to this one, so I've run my numbers, and I'd love to have a conversation with you about this. Clearly this is not a carpet paint type of deal. This is a you got to get in there and do a full remodel. Right, so there's no cutting corners on this one. A lot of the flips I'm doing right now, we can get away with painting cabinets and doing paint and carpet and call it a day because there's no inventory. Why go all out? But not this one. This is roof, window, siding, and then if you're doing that, you're doing kitchens, bath, and all of it.
Right.
So I'm looking at probably around a $45,000 budget. It's not that big. That's what I would spend probably to do a full remodel. Maybe 50, there's some landscaping, no driveway, some things like that. But, and I think on the I have an idea on the open market, if I did a full remodel in that neighborhood, what I could get. I'd love to hear your opinion. What do you think this would sell for if this was done up right? I mean, there's some nice flips over there. And then there's a bunch of average stuff too that's selling just fine too. Again, no inventory, but on the full remodel, what do you think this baby would get?
Done well, you're probably going to get about probably 375 top end. Okay. I was pushing it a little to 395, and the only reason why is what I did is I took 3 comps. There's one on Long Street, Mall Street, and Mitchell Street. All 3 are full-blown rehabs, they're like staged and everything. And then averaged those 3 to get $273 a foot. I'm just telling you my logic here. $273 a foot, average price per square foot, and then I multiplied that by your house at $1,447 to get me to that number. But what's crazy is those rehabs, I mean, those things sold for over asking price. Like they were hot on the market. I mean, like one of them, I think I remember I was just looking at, I think went for like 20 or 30,000 over asking price. I know it did. I know it because I actually wrote an offer on it, and there were a whole bunch of offers, and we weren't even close, and we were like 20 over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would put me, running my formula, because I got to factor in closing fees, carry cost, and a profit. So, I would need to be around the 230, 235 number, which isn't too far off of where you're at. I mean, I don't know how you feel about that or what kind of action you're getting, but if I could get this thing in the 230s, that would be a great deal for me and work for my formula and the kind of rehabs I like to do.
Sure.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are that they're not going to go for that low right now. Now,
okay,
they may go for that number later. Here we are, first day on the market, and you're absolutely. I could not agree with you more. And in fact, that email that I sent to these 3 guys just said that. I said, the person who's your best buyer is the one who really doesn't understand their costs.
Yeah, doesn't know what they're doing.
Exactly. But can raise Adam to buy the place.
Yeah.
And that's really your best buyer. That's who we're really looking for. And I said, if you got somebody who really understands their costs really well, they're not going to be your best buyer because they're not going to come in as high. Yeah, exactly.
Well, Steve, could we do this? Because, I don't want to waste your time, and we don't need to go write up an offer, especially given what you told me that they're going to want to see what the market thinks. But I mean, a verbal offer would only take a minute, and you can tell them too, I'm unrepresented, so we can back out that commission. And I just as soon back it out, so then they don't have to factor in, 2.5% in cost. And just let them know, say, hey, I got a cash buyer. He's and I can show proof of funds. I can close quick. I can do all that. I can make it super convenient and easy for them. And just see what they say, see how they react to an offer in the 230s.
Sure.
Would you be okay to just do that?
I would, absolutely.
Okay. At least we start a conversation, we start a baseline, and
right. Yeah. And so then you get down the road 3 weeks and they say, well, by the way, where's that standing offer?
Yeah. Especially if Steve, you call him up once a week and say, hey, that Jerry guy called me again just to see where we're at. I just want to let you know he's still there.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
He's still there here. Hey, he's still there.
That's where we are. Let me see what I can do, and I will get back to you as soon as I get more information back from them. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Steve. Look forward to working with you.
Yeah, me too. Nice talking to you.
Yep. All right. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so that was awesome. What a great agent, at least open. Normally you got to work a little bit and try to pull information out. And it was like, hi, my name is Jerry Norton. Oh, let me tell you all about the property. And so, that's not always the case. I love it when that is, because just let them talk and they tend to just kind of share more and more. I hope you picked up a couple of key points. If you watch my videos where I talk to agents, I talk about this quite a bit, which is my strategy of using logic to justify my offer, right? So I talk about comps, I talk about the rehab, I let them know, hey, there's a formula I follow, and this is why my number is 236 or 230, right? So, and reasonable, logical, objective people, agents and sellers, they may not agree or they may not think that can get done, but at least they will respect that. At least they'll see that you're coming from a place of analysis. You're not just lowballing them. The last thing an agent wants to feel, or the sellers want to feel, is like they're just getting lowballed without any reasoning behind it, right? Without a logical, legit reason. So that's kind of why I position things that way. And I ask him questions like, hey, what do you think it'll sell for? He said 375. My analysis is 395. I actually think I'm right because this market is so hot. Everything's going over ask. I used an average price per square foot to get to that number. So I'm using data. I'm using real hard data recently, close in the neighborhood, similar to the property. And so, let's cross our fingers. This is not that far off. It's not unlikely for us to get this deal. I think this guy, even though we're not double dipping, even though he's not getting the buyer side for me, he still is going to go to bat. And I think that has to do a lot with building a relationship with him. I still kept coming back. Did you notice that I kept coming back to our future relationship? It's never about the deal in hand. It's always about the next deal and future deals. So I think I can still establish with this agent a double dip dual agency relationship where when he goes into appointments with sellers, he'll go in with the objective of, hey, I've got a cash buyer. I can represent the buyer. Are you open to that? And then he can start getting the both commission, the double commission. So anyway, that's the hope with building that relationship with an agent like that. Now guys, everything we did on this analysis and the offer, all of it was completely manual, no tools. It was using the calculator, notes, and that's a much slower process. If I don't keep copious notes, then I'm going to forget all of this stuff. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to transfer this information into my deal management system called Flipster. If you've never heard of Flipster, it's an all-inclusive platform where you can organize, streamline, automate all of the steps to wholesaling and flipping houses. It's all in one central location. It allows me to really maximize my efforts. And if you want to learn more or see that in action, just go to getflipster.com and you can check it out there. And guys, hope you enjoyed this video. This was another really successful, wholesale show video. Really happy with how this one came out. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe with now I think pretty close to 600 videos here on the channel. This is the #1 channel for wholesaling and flipping, and I'll see you on the next video.